When the district's highest-ranking government officer, Bhumi Sharma's mother, wearing ordinary clothes, went to a government bank to withdraw money, all the bank officials assumed she was a poor woman or a beggar. No one knew that this woman was actually the mother of the district's top officer, DM Madam Bhumi Sharma. Everyone thought she must be some beggar. What is she doing in such a professional bank? The woman slowly walked toward the counter. There, a security guard named Reshma was sitting. The elderly woman said to Reshma, "Daughter, I need to withdraw some money from the bank. Here, take this check." Reshma, without even looking at the check, said, "How dare you enter this bank? This bank is not for people like you. Are you a beggar? This is a bank for rich people. Only big personalities have accounts here. A woman like you could never afford to have an account here. Leave immediately, otherwise I'll throw you out." The woman said, "Daughter, please just look at the check. I need to withdraw 500,000 taka." Hearing this, Reshma got even angrier. "Do you think this is a place for jokes? You think I'll believe whatever you say? Someone like you having 500,000 taka? Have you even seen that much money in your life? Leave this place right now, or I'll drag you out myself." Just then, the bank manager stepped out of his cabin and asked, "Who's making all this noise?" Reshma immediately replied, "Sir, it's a beggar woman who just won't leave." The bank manager, furious, came outside, and without listening to a word, he slapped the elderly woman. The slap was so hard she staggered and fell to the ground. The manager then told Reshma, "What are you doing? Drag her out of here. Where do such people even come from?" Reshma then forcibly pushed the woman out of the bank. At that moment, all the customers and staff in the bank stood silently. No one knew that the woman was actually the mother of Bhumi Sharma, and the entire incident was being recorded by the bank's CCTV cameras. Back home, the woman crying called her daughter Bhumi Sharma and told her everything. How she had been insulted and humiliated at the bank. Upon hearing this, Bhumi trembled inside. It was like being burned alive. She cried and said, "Ma, tomorrow I will go with you myself, and we will withdraw your money together." The next morning, DM Bhumi Sharma wore a simple cotton sari and got ready to go to the bank with her mother. Mother and daughter embraced each other, tears in their eyes, a mix of pride and pain. Tears welled up in Bhumi's mother's eyes, but there was also pride in her daughter. The daughter she had raised through so much hardship educated her, and today she had reached such a high position. At exactly 11 a.m., mother and daughter reached the front of the bank. The bank hadn't opened yet, even though it was supposed to open at 10 a.m. Bhumi sat calmly next to the bank entrance and waited. A few minutes later, when the bank finally opened, mother and daughter entered. Their clothing was so simple that the customers and staff assumed they were just some rural women. No one could imagine that this was Bhumi Sharma, the district magistrate. Bhumi slowly walked toward the counter, holding her mother's hand. There sat Reshma, the same security guard from before. Bhumi politely said, "Madam, we need to withdraw some money. We need to buy medicine for my mother. And there are a few urgent tasks as well." Reshma looked them up and down from head to toe. One old woman in a sari and a young woman in simple clothes. They didn't look like officials in any way. Reshma mocked and said, "Oh, maybe you've come to the wrong bank by mistake. This branch is for high-profile clients." Bhumi smiled slightly and replied, "Madam, please check once. If it's not there, we'll leave." Reshma reluctantly took the check and said, "It'll take some time. Sit over there." Bhumi held her mother's hand and sat down in an empty chair in the corner. She gave her mother some water and remained quietly seated herself. People in the bank were staring at them strangely. Usually, wealthy businessmen, officers, and influential people came here, wearing expensive watches and flashy clothes. Seeing the mother and daughter sitting there in simple attire seemed out of place to everyone. Whispers began to spread around. Where are they from? Must be here for pension issues. They surely can't have an account here. Bhumi heard everything, but she remained completely calm. Her mother felt a bit uneasy, but seeing her daughter's patience, she tried to compose herself. After a while, Bhumi said to Reshma, "If you're busy, please arrange a meeting with the manager. I have something urgent to discuss." Reshma, annoyed, picked up the phone and called the manager's cabin. "Sir, a woman is here. She's saying she wants to see you. Shall I send her in?" The manager peeked through the glass window and saw an ordinary-looking woman sitting with another elderly lady. They didn't look like officers at all. In a cold tone, he replied, "I don't have time for such useless people. Let them sit there." Reshma said, "Please sit in the waiting chair. Sir will be free in a bit." Bhumi said nothing. She just held her mother's hand and sat quietly. With the dignity of an officer and the patience of a daughter, Bhumi Sharma remained seated in complete composure. But seeing her mother's restlessness and hearing the murmurs around them, Bhumi gently squeezed her mother's hand and said, "Ma, it seems like they don't care at all. Now I have to speak for myself." She slowly stood up, adjusted the edge of her sari, and walked straight toward the manager's cabin. The manager, who had seen them earlier from behind the window, now felt a little nervous. He quickly stepped out, stood in front of Bhumi, and said, "Yes, what do you need?" Bhumi held out an envelope and said, "I need to withdraw money. I need to buy my mother's medicine. And there are some other important matters too. Here, take this check and have a look." The manager didn't even take the envelope. In a condescending tone, he said, "When there's no money in the account, how can any transaction be done? You don't even have the means to have money in your account. Big dreams of withdrawing a huge amount." Still calmly, Bhumi replied, "If you would kindly just check once, that would be better. It's not right to say such things based on assumptions." The manager laughed and said, "Brother, I've got so much experience. I can tell someone's status just by looking at their face. People like you come in here every day. You're nothing special. I don't believe there's anything in your account. And stop creating a scene. Look, everyone is watching you." The situation was getting tense. The manager said, "It would be best if you left now." Bhumi Sharma's face was still composed, but the peace in her eyes had disappeared. In its place, a clear firmness was visible. She didn't say anything. She placed the papers inside the envelope on the table and said softly, "All right, I'm leaving. But one request. Please take a look at what's inside this envelope later. It might be useful to you." Saying this, she held her mother's hand and started walking toward the door. But just as she reached the door, she suddenly stopped and turned back. With a deep gaze toward the manager, she said, "Beta, you will have to face the consequences of this behavior. Time will teach you." The entire bank went silent for a moment. No shouting, no drama. Just a respectful warning that felt like a sign of an approaching storm. The manager was a bit shaken and in a low voice said, "Old people say whatever they feel like. Let them go." He returned to his seat. The envelope still lay on the table. Unopened, ignored. He had no idea that inside that envelope was a truth powerful enough to change his entire life. The next day, the usual routine resumed at the bank. Clerks were busy with their work, cashiers were counting money, and the manager was back to his usual arrogant self. But today, there was a change. The same elderly lady who had been humiliated beyond limits the day before walked into the bank again. But this time, she wasn't alone. Beside her stood a confident, high-ranking official, dressed sharply, holding a polished briefcase. As they entered, every eye in the bank turned toward them. The elderly woman didn't look around. She walked straight toward the manager's cabin. At first, the manager didn't recognize her, but as she came closer, her face became clear. It was the same woman, the same one whose file he had thrown away the day before, the one he mocked because of her simple sorry, the one he had ordered out saying, "We don't want clients like you." Now fear spread across his face. Terrified, the manager came out of his cabin on his own. Today the woman's face held confidence and pride. She didn't stop. She went directly to the manager and said firmly, "Manager Sahab, I told you the other day you would face the consequences of your behavior. You didn't just insult me, you insulted thousands of ordinary citizens like me. Now it's time for payback." The manager, now nervous, said, "Who are you to lecture me? Is this your house? This is a bank." The woman interrupted him midway with a smile and said, "Meet this gentleman. He's my legal advisor." Then, in a calm tone, she added, "And I am the district magistrate of this area, D.M. Bhumi Sharma, and I also hold an 8% shareholder stake in this bank. And this dignified lady here is my mother, the one you mistreated so terribly." For a moment, silence filled the entire bank. All the staff, customers, even the security guard at the door stood in complete shock. The manager's face turned pale. Before he could say a word, Bhumi Sharma continued, "From this very moment you are being removed from your position as bank manager. Your new posting will be in the field, where you will report daily while working directly with ordinary citizens." Bhumi Sharma opened her briefcase and took out 2 documents. She placed them on the table. The first, the manager's transfer order. The second, a show-cause notice, stating, "Your behavior has been found to be in violation of the bank's policy guidelines." Now the manager was drenched in sweat. With a trembling voice he said, "Madam, I made a mistake. I am truly ashamed. I sincerely apologize from my heart for the words I said yesterday." Bhumi's eyes were still steady, but in her voice was the sense of justice that reflects the identity of a true officer. She said, "You are apologizing for a mistake, but did you insult only me? Or also those countless ordinary customers who walk in with gray hair and simple clothes, whom you judge only by their appearance? Have you ever read the bank's guidelines? It's clearly written, every customer is equal. No one is rich or poor here. If any employee shows discriminatory behavior, strict action will be taken against them." She paused for a moment, then said in a firmer tone, "If I wanted, I could have suspended you today. But I'm giving you one chance to correct yourself. Next time, it won't be your name. Your entire identity will be erased." Then, she called the bank security guard, Reshma. Reshma came forward trembling in fear, tears in her eyes. With shaking hands she said, "Madam, please forgive me. I made a terrible mistake. In the future I will never judge anyone like this again." Bhumi Sharma looked at her and said, "Never judge someone by their clothes. Let today's lesson stay with you forever." By then, the entire bank staff stood with their heads lowered. Bhumi looked around at everyone and said, "It's not the path. It's the mindset that makes someone great. A person who understands humanity is the true officer." Saying this, Bhumi Sharma held her mother's hand and walked out of the bank. Inside the bank, for a few moments, silence returned once again. Then slowly everyone started looking at one another. Their mindset had changed. From that day onward, the environment of the bank transformed. Every customer began to receive respect. No one was called poor just because they wore a sari. Everyone understood. Never underestimate an ordinary person, because one day that very person might stand before you as someone special. Friends, this video teaches us a deep lesson. In our country, it's often seen that people judge others by their clothes, status, or position. But this story teaches us: never look down on someone because of their appearance or simplicity. That person might hold a position far higher than you, or be more honorable. Every person deserves equal respect. Whether rich or poor, treating everyone humanely is true humanity. This is our culture. This is our civilization. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and comment below. Tell us which city, state, or country you're watching from. We would love to know how far our story is reaching. We'll meet again with another true and inspiring story.